Hello everyone, how are we doing? It is Sunday, 11:30 in the morning. Who is watching? Who is joining us? Emma, you appear to be in the room. So everyone, say hi, write in the comments where you are watching this stream from. And remember, please click the share button. It's great if you click share, right post, and then say, hey guys, check this out for a bit of running knowledge. Really does help us out. Otherwise, just click share now, that'd be cool. And then if you think someone can benefit from this information, write in the comments, tag their name, get them to join. If they join live, whoop-de-doo. If they don't, they can watch the rerun. It's still all good. Excellent. So we've got Emma. There's 2 other people watching. Say hello. I can't see you if you don't say hello. It's a very weird thing that means I can't see you. We appear today, guys, to be having positivity. Facebook is working pretty much. So I've got your laptop here, the phone here. I think we're in for a very good live here today, guys. Don't want to kind of risk it too much, but I think it might be one of our best. So 3 or 4 of us in, bit quiet lately. I know this time might be competing with other things, but fingers crossed we'll have a full crowd, 14, 15, 16, 17. Our best, we had that stream of 17 or 18 people every week for a while. Claire, hello. Claire Finley, hello. Steve Hunt, good morning from the Fit Fans. How are you getting on, Steve? So we're gonna run for about 30 minutes today. Actually, everyone, just let me know if you can hear me, if the sound is good. That is really important. So, usual thing, please share this on your feed. Please write someone's name in the comments that you think would benefit from watching this video. We're going to be covering nutrition, and we're going to be covering running, and we might even talk a little bit about sport. If you have a question you would like answered during this live, write it in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer your question as a priority. What else have I got to say? I'm sure I've got to say something else. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. Anyway, sound is all good. Thank you very much, Emma. Thank you, Steve. Great, that's perfect. That's all I needed to know. So we've got a few questions coming this week. And I'll discuss those, and then I'm going to go. Hopefully I have some of your questions live. That would be fantastic. I'm going to direct you that I've pinned an address here. That's our 4 weeks, 4 kilos program that kicks off tomorrow. Entries close at 9 p.m. tonight. We spoke about that last week, so I'm not really going to talk about it unless you have a question or you want to know more. Ask the question and I'll help you out. But we have a few questions that are raised this week, which are, they're all pretty much to do with training. There is one which kind of relates to nutrition. Steve says, not sure if any of the other lads will join us. We're currently doing a virtual run from some... Ah, that's really cool, Steve. How many miles is that, Steve? Let me know. So, our first question today, guys. This is a good one, really, for this time of kind of pandemic year. Hopefully this comes up on your screen. I would love it if it does come up on your screen. That would mean Facebook is working flawlessly. If it doesn't, no problem. I will read it to you. But the question is, I'm doing running, or I have been running. I had a goal in mind that I was running for, and then obviously no competitions are taking place at the moment. They're all doing virtual runs, which is really cool. I got to my target, I reached my target. What should I be training for now? PS, my goal was to run a 10K. So I'm not sure if that comes up on your screen or not, actually. It's a shame if it doesn't, because it's a very cool Facebook feature. Yeah, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, 355 miles raising money for Mind. That's cool. £500 so far. Well done, Steve. Well done, guys. Send my commendations to them all. So this thing that we've got at the moment of all the running competitions being cancelled, and there's lots of virtual runs which are really cool, and I do like them a lot actually. Something I've even looked into hosting. But you will training for the 10K, the Birmingham 10K perhaps, or another 10K. You've achieved your target, you ran 10 kilometers, but now you're not really sure on what you should be doing and how you should be training. Someone actually posted the other day, or the other week, on a very busy live, that one, where they were saying they wanted to go into the half marathon. What should they actually do? Well, the realistic point here is that we need to look at your wider training program. So if you have been, hello Andy, how are we doing? If we have been training for an extended period of time, so 12 weeks, we actually need a little bit of downtime. We need a bit of recovery here. So if you did a 12-week program or even a 10-week program, it's wise to give yourself a rest week. Now, a rest week doesn't have to be fully coming back off all exercise and saying, I'm not doing anything at all. Don't go cold turkey. Andy, if Xana's watching, hello as well, Xana. But it might be the case that you need to just perhaps cut your mileage by 70%, reduce the number of training sessions you're doing. So if you're doing weight training sessions, then completely come off the gas, do 2 in the week rather than the 4. Maybe reduce the intensity, just kind of take it a little bit easier. Replace some of the sessions with some mobility work. We could all do more mobility work. I can guarantee you that we can all do more mobility work. And mobility can be yoga, can be Pilates, that kind of thing as well. So once we've had that week in there, we've done these 12 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it is, of really hard running, we then say, okay, I want to move towards another goal. There is no kind of harm in spending a very short period of time working for a very specific goal. So in your case, where you've been doing 10K training for 10 to 12 weeks, we take a low kind of load week. That's where we step back and we allow our body just to recover psychologically and also physically. And then we're going to spend 6 to 8 weeks working on speed. There is no harm in working on something for a slightly shorter period of time. Wayne, Kerry, boys even, if you are watching, that is cool. Hello, boys. By putting some speed work after a block of more middle distance or long distance running, it is only going to have positive effects for you. Because by doing speed work, we improve our running technique. Flat out, running technique is always better when you are running faster. It allows us to get our body in the correct position. So a high knee lift, encouraging your foot to be landing midfoot as opposed to heel landing. Hey Rachel, how are we doing? It also allows us to land directly underneath our hips and propel our bodies further forward. So we actually become more economic and efficient when we switch back to some distance running. So by putting in this 6 weeks worth of speed work, first of all, we're going to remind ourselves of correct running technique, and we're also going to work to develop the correct technique. The second aspect here is that speed work will contribute to your fitness. So a lot of speed work sessions are actually like a 400-meter block or a 200-meter block, maybe a 1,000-meter block. They're relatively shorter, but they allow you to work submaximal. So by working submaximal, we're improving our aerobic capacity, and we're also going to, because of the recovery periods and kind of details, we're also going to improve our anaerobic system, so lack of oxygen being available. By combining that kind of training, it means our baseline here, our regular long distance fitness, our running speed, gradually actually increases. There are marathon runners who do a lot of their training, not doing long steady state runs, but actually doing it interval running. I spoke with Danny many months ago, actually. It was probably like 6 months ago. If Danny watches this or if he tunes in, he's got a special training session we've set for him today. But he'll probably remember when we discussed about whether you could train for a marathon only doing interval training. Interval training being sprint work or very high intensity work, and then just dropping down to recovery pace for a minute and then going back into that sprint work. But basically, by increasing your speed work during this block, you gradually actually help your body to increase its speed during longer runs. It doesn't happen immediately, but it's really useful. So you should definitely be employing that in your programming. And also then, thirdly, by having some speed work in there, you might find by developing a particular zone within your running. So say we're training for the 10K still, but we do 6 weeks of, so this 6-week period of speed work actually improves your initial 5K, or it improves your last 3K of a 10K race. So it's not only improving you in your biomechanics, so your running technique, it's not only improving your performance by increasing your speed, your comfortable pace, but it also helps with developing speed as a component of a 10K. So what I'm saying is, if you have just finished a 10K program, you were training for something, you have no competitions in the diary because we just don't know when they're going to resume, use this now, this opportunity to build a little bit of speed work. So shorter runs, higher speed, more intense. Hopefully that will help. Make sure you're taking a recovery week in between the two, so you're not just doing 18, 20 weeks back-to-back training. And if we've been doing stuff for weight resistance training, the principle applies of having a rest week. So deload week, reducing the intensity, reducing the volume, reducing the frequency of those sessions, and then allowing yourself to push hard again. Go at it again and really make some moves in terms of improving your personal bests. Hopefully that answers your question. By the way, guys, did the question thing come up here anywhere when I did that? I'm going to close that one. I'm going to catch up with some comments here because we've got a few comments I think have come in. Steve, thanks for telling Kimberly. Kimberly, if you're watching this, hello Kimberly. We had Andy, Rachel, Ian. Hello Ian, how are you? How is your challenge going on, your great solo run going on? Emma says, I got Jamie Salt to sign up to 4 weeks, 4 kilos this morning. Yes, Jamie. Well done, Emma. Good going. We are kicking off 4 weeks, 4 kilos. Well, entry's closed tonight. We properly start tomorrow, so loads going on. So my screen over here has just shown the question that I asked. It'd be interesting to know if it comes up for you guys. I'm going to hide that now. So we've got 2 more questions I want to cover today, and we're also going to be discussing some sports. But if you have a question that you would like answered, please write it in the comments down here. I'll do my very best to answer it live for you. So Steve, Andy, Rachel, Ian, Emma, Jamie, Wayne, Kerry, any of you guys, I've got 8, 9 of you on at the moment. Please post your question. I'll do my very best to answer that. We're going to be discussing this next. Let's try and do one of these. We're going to do a poll. Should professional sports be resuming? Yes? No? Let's see. If you guys get that, that'll be interesting. If you can receive this little poll, that'd be very interesting if that comes up on your screen. Anyway, so our second topic today, trying to do loads of things, loads of very fun and cool things, is this one. Hopefully this pops up on your screen. This is something I saw being discussed lately. This was discussed on Friday night within a very popular running forum. The coaches of this running forum are very good at coaching. So that's my first caveat. This is a post by someone else, and then it prompted me to make a comment, trying to help people, stop people being misled. That is the most important thing. So hopefully this comes up on your screen. The question really was, should I be running on a keto diet? That was it. When asking for more detail, it was, should I be running on a keto diet to help me lose more weight? So there's kind of two questions in there. Whether the ketogenic diet, which are basically extremely low carbohydrate, it's something like only 80 grams of carbohydrate can be consumed in a day. Ben, good morning, Ben. Ben and Haley, if you're watching, hello, great quiz last night. So the running performance also aspect comes into this. So should you be having a ketogenic diet, so a very, very, very low carbohydrate diet, and looking to run for performance? And the answers that I saw being posted were very, very confusing. So if you have heard of the ketogenic diet or thought about whether you should be doing keto as part of your run, click like, love, haha, or wow right now. Let's see how many of us have heard of this and are considering or have considered in the past. And then I'm going to tell you why you should or shouldn't be doing it. I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. Let's see if you all catch up here. Because I know there's a little delay between me speaking and your answers coming in over here. But I do love a good countdown, so I wanted to do that. Right, so the ketogenic diet basically requires you to reduce your carbohydrates to something like just 80 grams per day. 80 grams of carbohydrate, that's like 320 calories coming from carbohydrate only in a day. First things first, going low carb doesn't necessarily mean you are ketogenic. That's the first thing. Most people get that wrong, and most people get confused when they tell people to do a ketogenic diet, and they're actually just telling them to go very low carb, but not necessarily as low as ketogenic. The second thing here, there is one overarching principle that creates weight loss. It's not a particular diet, it is creating a calorie deficit. And it's really boring to hear that. When I first started in nutrition many years ago, not many people were saying that. And in the last couple of years, it's become popular. Funny that, become popular to tell the truth, which is good. But there are many ways we can do this. We can create a calorie deficit by using these different strategies, these different diets, but the actual principle is just about creating a calorie deficit. So you're burning more calories than you are consuming. So in answer to this person's question of should I be doing my runs ketogenic or keto to lose more weight, no. All you should be concerned about is increasing your calorie deficit, so burning more calories, whether that's through exercise or just consuming less food. That will help you lose weight. Now, the technical aspect here is whether you should be consuming a ketogenic diet, a keto diet, a low carb diet to improve running performance. Someone answered on this question and said, yes, I went keto and then all of my runs were so much better. My performance improved, blah, 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 being high fat, low carb, improves your health and makes you lose more weight. No. The most basic answer to this complex area of nutrition is that a ketogenic diet is not good for performance. It is not good whatsoever for high intensity exercise because the availability of glycogen, which is carbohydrate, is just too low if we do it in any other way. So don't go ketogenic and hope to improve your running performance or hope to lose weight, to be honest, or hope that you can set personal bests. The delivery by going ketogenic of energy to you is a little bit too slow, basically, to maintain high intensity exercise. It's the same for fasted cardio, and that'll be something we discuss another time. But when this individual said, oh, I lost loads of weight, that was really interesting for me. I wasn't going to be funny and then start breaking down their whole argument. But they'd probably lost weight because they restricted the actual foods that they enjoyed eating. So carbohydrate-based foods. So they reduced the foods that they enjoyed eating so they don't basically consume those calories and therefore lost weight. And interestingly, the greatest impact on VO2 max, so that's your maximal capacity to basically take in oxygen and utilize it in the body, the greatest impact is substantial weight loss. So when I first did 4 weeks, 4 kilos, this is an accountability program for losing weight in a very short period of time, I wasn't running. And then when I started the program, I started running, bit of discipline, and I was only doing like 20-minute, 25-minute runs or anything like that, nothing impressive. And not like regular training, not a proper running program. It was just me going out and doing a bit of running. But my fitness improved rapidly because I was losing 1 to 2 kilos, probably 2 kilos per week really. And just a lighter load, but maintaining some form of resistance exercise. Every time you run, it is resistance. It's like 5 times gravity. Jamie, if you're watching, Jamie, you can give me the specifics on how many G's that is. That's not G's as in grand. But because I was working my muscles still pushing hard, that combined with the fact that my weight loss was just going like that, going right through the floor, I was able to improve my VO2 max substantially. It would go up several points. So this person saying their running, improved so much, is actually likely to do with their weight loss, and the weight loss is likely to have occurred just by saying, I don't want these certain foods in my diet, and therefore you're not allowing yourself to consume some calories. That's all it is. It's just about a calorie deficit. So really interesting question, but it's really important to know that ketogenic diet is not good for running performance, and a ketogenic diet isn't the solution, the only solution, should I say, for losing weight. It's just one of the strategies we can have. Right, everyone, so it's at this point, please hit like, love, haha, wow. If you think someone would benefit from this information, tag them in the comments, share this on your feed, so click share. I'll let you do share now. If you want to do share now, I will let that happen. Otherwise, click share, write post, because Facebook likes it when you write a post about something that you're sharing. If this is useful for you guys, let me know. And if you have a question, no live questions so far, I don't think. No live questions so far whatsoever. That is amazing. 10 of us online. I would love us to get back to 20. That would be so cool. But if you have a question that you would like answered about running, nutrition, health, fitness, we can cover that in this session today. Probably going to do another 10 minutes tops. Okay, so get your question, maybe not even 10 minutes. So get your question in quickly. Thank you. Right, I don't know if the poll has come up for you. Maybe not, because it doesn't look like we've had... Oh, we've had 2 votes on the poll. Don't know if this comes up on your screen in a minute. That would be very cool. If this comes up on the screen, this is amazing. Our next question then. So this is the final question I plan to get through today. If you have questions, we will definitely get through your question as well. So don't worry, I won't miss out your question. But what kind of stretching should I be doing around my training? And this person, when they asked their question, it's funny, isn't it? 3 questions, all anonymous. I don't want to be named. Don't worry about asking questions. It's never a problem to ask questions. It's better to ask questions, actually. So what type of stretching should I be doing for my training? This is a question that has come up 3 times in the probably last 10 days for me, actually. Kimberly has asked a question. Kimberly, I'm going to come to you after I finish this question on stretching. So in the last 10 days, I've had this asked 3 times. One was in the Q&A I did for the BCFC Fit Fans, which Steve is here from. Once was from one of my athletes, and then once was this anonymous question. So First things first, two types of stretching. Dynamic stretching, that's a movement, hence the word dynamic. So we're moving through a pattern, we're moving, we're not standing still. And then there's static stretching. That means the traditional thing of, oh, I'm going to stick my leg out in front and put my hand on my knee. Feel the stretch, guys. Those are the two main types of stretching. We can go into loads of details about other things, but we're not. Cool. Two more questions. Excellent, Andy. Thank you. So, with stretching, basic principles apply. I love having all these basic principles. It's really good. It means you can take away some advice and just implement it straight away. Dynamic stretching should be performed before exercise, static stretching afterwards. Point blank. Don't hold a static stretch before you exercise. If you do want to do some stretching beforehand, make sure it's dynamic. So some leg swings, some hamstring walks. So that's where you're going to see this lovely indoor plant maybe in a second. Hamstring walks, that one there, into there. Maybe some lunges. See, always wearing Asics. Maybe some lunges, maybe some squats up and down, keep things moving. A static stretch increases the chance of injury when you perform it before exercise. That's the really important thing here. Dynamic stretches basically prepare the body for exercise, increase blood flow to the area. If you're doing some dynamic moves like those and then into some actions which replicate or are very similar to the activity you're going to perform, so running, if you do some dynamic stretches and then some running drills like high knees, some straight legs, bum flicks, all of those things, then you are preparing the body, you're preparing the neuromuscular links as well, of what activity is about to come, and it's likely you will run better and faster than you normally would by just doing those. It could be just 10 minutes worth. If you're like me and you just want to get up and go and you don't do any kind of warm-up, maybe consider implementing some of these things. It's really, really, really useful for your running performance. Static stretching should be performed after exercise, definitely. Don't do it beforehand because your injury chance goes up. If you don't perform it afterwards though, you will find that tightness starts to inhibit your ability to perform basically. And it's a snowball effect. So you didn't stretch after Monday's session, and then you didn't stretch after Wednesday's session, you didn't stretch after Friday's session, and you're basically going from here to 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 here, and by the next week you're really tight, and now your chance of injury as you go through that movement, because you're not bothering to warm up, is now getting worse and worse, and your chance of injury goes up. So you should be doing some form of static stretching afterwards as well. Interesting point for you here, and then I'm going to move on because I could talk about stretching for ages, but it has been done before that if you need someone to get through a session or a performance, they have a little niggle, you can do a static stretch before the exercise on an area around that injury to allow them to get through that short performance. It is not recommended. Disclaimer, don't do it. Please do not do this. However, it's just an interesting bit of science. You can switch off pain receptors by holding that stretch, and effectively the body then allows you to go through the performance. So to put this in an applied format, you have a tight Achilles, you have some Achilles soreness or Achilles tendonitis. You can hold a calf stretch for a long period of time statically, and that will basically reduce the pain signaling to your brain that it's hurting to allow you to get through a race basically. Why is this a bad idea? Because the pain receptor is there to prevent you from causing more damage, particularly in something like Achilles tendonitis or Achilles, which is just a progressive injury. It just gets worse and worse and worse unless you manage it. I'm an idiot, happened to me this week. If you follow me on Strava, you can see that I wrote my anger at this. It's all my fault, completely my fault. Didn't do what I tell others to do basically. But if you try this method, you will get a more severe injury basically in the long term. Coaches sometimes do this with athletes just to get them through one performance, get them through the last performance of the season, then relax. If it's not in a professional environment, don't do it. It's just not necessary. Instead, go through your rehab protocol. Need rehab protocol? Then contact me. Right, let's have a look at these questions. Kimberly, hello Kimberly. How are you, Kimberly? Thank you very much for joining us. Hiya, I have just finished Couch to 5K. What is best to do now? Increase my distance, time, etc. Really cool question. Well done for Couch to 5K. Who was your audio? Was it Michael Johnson? Usain Bolt, the baton. I'm quite proud of that. So, Couch to 5K is excellent at building you up to the 5K mark, basically, getting you from maybe interval training upwards. If I were you, I would maintain the interval training workouts. My go-to interval training routine, it's the foundation I call it, is 1 minute 30, easy pace, 30 seconds maximal pace. Do 10 reps of that. No more than 10 reps. If you can do more than 10 reps, you probably weren't doing your sprints hard enough and your recoveries properly. I can close that one there. It was Joe Wiley. Fair enough. I hope you all appreciated the impression. Joe Wiley's cool though. I didn't know she was on it. Interesting fact, a little bit of trivia. Spoke to Joe Wiley when I was 8 or 9 years old. Very nice lady. Yeah, so do that interval routine, increase some mileage. So get used to running a very, very small amount more per week. I'd say no more than 2 miles every 2 weeks, increasing on your mileage. So, I mean, like the 2.5 principle every 4 weeks is nice as well. Basically, don't do too much too soon. That will cause injury to occur. And when I say mileage, just increase your one long run per week. So if you're running 3 times a week, one of those runs on the weekend should be your long, easy run. It should be slow. And just start adding in a K every other week or something like that. It doesn't need to be particularly technical. And that's where your mileage is coming from. Your remaining sessions should be based, one, on that kind of interval format, and on the other session, if I were you, I would be doing something like, say, 1 kilometer really easy pace to get into it, 2 kilometers where it's challenging pace, 1 kilometer where it's really kind of fast, and you're thinking about lifting your knees, pushing your feet into the ground. Think good technique, basically. If you're not sure about good technique, I could talk about it for hours. The guys in here from Friday Night Track Club will tell you all about that. I do speak about it for hours. Join us, actually. We do all of our Friday Night Track Club groups on Fridays, 6 p.m. on Zoom. I will post a link to our page. I could do it now, can't I? Might as well do that now. Here we go. I'll pin this to the top so you can see this. What was that? FNTC. This is basically what we do. I'm not allowed to pin it. How funny. But I would basically look to gradually increase your mileage on just 1 run per week. Have 1 run as an interval format, and then 1 where you're going through these zones of easy to challenging to very challenging back to easy. It doesn't need to be getting longer and longer with distance duration each time. It certainly shouldn't be about improving or working on intensity. So intensity comes in the form of duration or speed, and mileage at the same time. You have to pick which one you're going to go for in your weeks. If you do both at the same time, you will likely end up with an injury. Right, does that make sense, Kimberly? Post another one again if it doesn't basically make sense. Brilliant. Did we think that was a good impression of Michael Johnson? I've done better, I think. Right, Andy says, sweet, thank you very much. You're welcome, Kimberly. Definitely join us for a Zoom Friday Night Track Club. Right, Andy says, are energy gels only good for endurance exercise? Fantastic question, Andy. I remember you asking a really brilliant question the other week. So energy gels, these are these gloopy things which are either glucose or glucose fructose mixes. Steve, how dare you? I've done better. So they are very, very gloopy. And usually you see runners using them, cyclists using them, endurance athletes using them, taking a load in their mouth, like squeezing out this tube, and then getting on with their performance. You will find that they are glucose unless they go very high content, and then they'll utilize a glucose fructose mix, a 2-to-1 mix, because it means that you basically absorb it into your body faster. It's something to do with the GLUT5 receptor. I wonder if anyone else has studied that. I used to like it a lot, that part of nutritional science. But basically, the reason you don't see this in any other kind of exercise is that your amount of energy that you burn and the rate at which you burn calories, so basically utilizing energy, is just so much slower outside of endurance activity. Remember, we don't need any exogenous, so taking in food, substances, that kind of thing. So sugar, basically, for any exercise below 60 minutes. So if you are training for 60 minutes, you start thinking about it at 40, 45 minutes. It's a bit confusing, I know, but you basically don't need it. If you are doing weight training, you probably don't get to a sufficient level if your training session is an hour long, and you certainly don't burn enough calories during that actual training session. Calorie burn during a gym workout is very, very low. It's much lower than you think. It's much lower than your Apple Watch tells you. I've seen like all of these Instagram workouts. I watched 2 of them yesterday, and then they do this thing. They take a screenshot of their watch and it says, you've just completed the 350 calorie workout. I mean, like, that is such a bad message to be sending people. That's why these people have no qualifications or no sufficient qualifications, because you can basically gain weight by following that method. You think you've burned 350 calories, so you consume 250 calories and you're like, yeah, I'm still under. But actually you've burnt 150 calories and you're consuming an extra 100 calories because you've done that gym workout or that home workout. That 100 calories adds up very quickly. So basically, unless you are performing in a gym environment, very high intensity for longer periods of time, perhaps some actual sport specific lifts, and you haven't consumed food, that would be the only time I would consider consuming energy basically during a training session. Usually by eating in the morning prior to training or eating in the evening, basically you've consumed food during the day, that would be sufficient amounts of energy before you train. Andy's added some context here. I was wondering about post high intensity work refueling. That's cool. So changes the answer. So if you are doing double sessions, so perhaps you've done some high intensity work like a circuit, and then you were planning on running, then yes. If you are doing your high intensity work in the last thing in the evening and you're planning on running in the morning before you ate or something like that, yes, it's a very good idea. It doesn't have to be an energy gel. It could be like a normal milkshake rather than the protein shake, because you've got so much carbohydrates available there. If you have double-headed days, basically where you train twice a day, then that becomes quite important. So like when we periodize people's nutrition, athletes' nutrition, where they have these 2 sessions in a day, we basically have to work out when we feed them and what we feed them in those periods. And if there isn't enough time, then it would come from energy gels basically. But if there is sufficient time, we give them like a jacket potato, give them loads of carbohydrate that they can basically refuel and prepare for the next day still. Andy, does that help? Does that answer your question? I'm going to give you all 2 minutes as well here. 2 minutes whilst I talk about the return of sport, but 2 minutes, post any questions you have. I do hope I have helped answer those. I've really enjoyed these today. This has been I told you it was going to be a really good live. I knew it, I could feel it. So 2 things actually. We've got 4 weeks, 4 kilos, commences tomorrow. Your sign up, your entries, your registration close tonight, 9 p.m. If you want to join, basically, it's not like some kind of voodoo stuff. You can theoretically lose more than this, but quite comfortably lose 4 kilos in 4 weeks. It's a strategy I teach, but you don't have to do much exercise in it, if any. You can drink alcohol, you can eat cake, chocolate. Last time I did this, Danny, how you doing, Danny? Don't worry, you can rewatch. I have a question for you actually, Danny. I'll tell you in a second if you stay on, please. But yeah, so last time I attended a wedding and ate loads at the wedding and still managed to then weigh in the next day, lower again, lower again. So basically 4 weeks, 4 kilos is a flexible approach which allows you to learn the tools, gives you some accountability of how to achieve weight loss. It's a great way of doing it. Basically, I've pinned the link at the top. Friday Night Track Club, so Kimberley, Friday Night Track Club. We used to take part at the track, funnily enough. But at the moment we're on Zoom, so it's really accessible. We do some drills, we do some strength work, we do some mobility work. I've asked the guys, some of them are watching right now, I've asked the guys as well to send requests. If they want to work on something, so running drill wise, or if it's injury rehab or prevention, mobility, whatever it is, you can request that and then we hopefully build something in the session for you. Andy, yes mate, cheers. Just need them for the longer runs then. I won't be doing double sessions. Interesting actually, Andy. Maybe actually we can do some, I'm thinking of those in the group who are runners and who will watch this. Maybe we could do some trials of longer runs with refueling strategies, because you have to try it in training before a race. Immediately thinking Danny and Andy here, you might be interested in this. Half marathon prep, that kind of thing. No commitment. Just let me know if that's of interest. Maybe I can work out some way we could do it and track it, maybe have a little group for it. Yes, Danny. Danny, did we once discuss, I think about 6, 7, 8 months ago at the track when we were finishing a training session, did we discuss whether it was possible? I'm sure you asked me what my thoughts were on only doing interval work training for a marathon. I feel like we did discuss it. I feel like we were stood on the left-hand side of the bleachers, third step up, like by the second bench kind of thing. Whilst Danny is thinking and answering that, the last point really is sport is resuming. Maybe you saw the poll. Maybe you saw the poll come up on your phone or your iPad or whatever. You can reopen it. 2 of you voted yes. Professional sport should be resuming. So professional sports is pretty much resuming around the world. And so we've got the Premier League kicking off this week. We have Bundesliga, which has been going on for a couple of weeks. We have the NBA looking at resuming in August, late July, August. They are basically going to go to Disney World and have all of the teams there in a bubble so they don't leave, reduced squad sizes, testing everyone for predisposed conditions which make them vulnerable, not allowing older managers to be present. It's really, really technical. And then they're reformatting the season. So should that be taking part? It's really interesting. We had the Impossible Games broadcast from Bislett Stadium on Thursday, I think it was. If you haven't seen that, go to BBC Sport, the red button. There's loads of stuff taking place like this. Basically, they had a few athletes in Kenya who'd been in a bubble together, trained together, and they competed against those in Bislett. There was Lavillenie competing in the pole vault from his garden, which was consists of a 15-meter run-up or something like that. There's lots of things now starting to re-emerge, and it's going to be really exciting to see how people adapt things. This is the opportunity to change the format of sports, and we're just saying we're changing it because of coronavirus. So like playing in neutral locations, or basically instead of a normal playoff structure, everyone plays each other in a mini round robin tournament. It's a really awesome opportunity, and say never again will it happen because it was coronavirus. But if it interests more people into the sport, maybe that's the way we should adapt the sport. Some really, really interesting things taking place, so keep an eye out. I would definitely encourage you to go to BBC Sport though, because they are actually kind of advertising these things, but advertising internally, and not really telling many, many people about it. Danny has replied, I think it was on shorter mileage than conventional with emphasis on intervals. Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's definitely possible, basically, to train for a marathon on that shorter structure, interval training. I mean, like, if you look at Eliud Kipchoge's training regime, or what he's released about it, what he's happy to release, it is different. It is quite interesting. So people are able to see this poll. If you can, I'm going to disappear in a second. We're going to finish there, unless you have questions, because I'm really enjoying this. But the poll must appear somewhere for you. I don't have it on my screen over here. But 3 of you have managed to vote. There's still 10 of you online. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've really enjoyed this. Hit like, love, haha, wow. It means the world to me when people actually get some content from this. It's like a really accessible way for you guys to get expert advice, basically. I want it to get bigger and bigger and more popular. So we broadcast this live on YouTube as well. Get some really weird comments on YouTube so far. So please stop that, those people who are watching this right now. But I want to help as many people as possible. So please keep sharing this. Share this on your profile feed. Tell your friends. Tag them in them. All of those things. Steve, the poll popped up and said it had ended, then came back a few minutes later and let me vote. Ah, cool. Andy says, definitely up for that. Need to get some longer runs going and see how refueling keeps the perceived exertion down towards it. Really cool. Yeah, we can do something like that, Andy. Danny, if you're interested. Andy, do you consume, like, do you drink coffee, basically? Do you like coffee? Be interested to know. I definitely like coffee. This is actually, Claire, if you are still watching, this is your coffee. What was it? Hole in the Ground coffee. Go and search them. Claire, very kindly, if she's still watching, gifted me this delicious bag of coffee for my cafetiere. I posted it yesterday, I think it was yesterday on Facebook and Instagram. Andy, yeah. So quickest thing really before we drop off: caffeine and perceived exertion. It's one of the most researched areas of caffeine is its effect on reducing RPE. So your rate of perceived exertion basically means your sensation of how hard you're working, and caffeine has this amazing effect. It depends, it's so individualized as an ingredient, but basically it might take 25 or 45 minutes to kick in. If it's the latter, then that would help with longer runs. So consuming it as near to disappearing for the run as you can possibly stomach, and then 45 minutes kicking in, and then last in your system for like 6 hours. So it's what it's called. It's a little bit like radiation has a half-life. Half-life of caffeine is like 6 hours. It's funny that. If I'm doing a 10K race, I often take Pro Plus before. Yeah, there you go. And how do you feel at like the 45 minutes? Do you feel it kicks in at 45 minutes, or what point, Andy? Everyone, by the way, we have the free group, Birmingham Fitness Training Nutrition Group, and also make sure your notifications are turned on and following. That really, really helps. Otherwise, you don't know when we do this stuff. Kate said last week she didn't get a single notification about my live. I had done 4 or 5 posts, 2 emails, and she got 1 hour before my live, and that was it. Kate is an admin, like, I don't say she's my admin. Kate is an admin, so she has account access basically to the business, and yet still didn't get those notifications. So please, 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 if you want to hear our content, want to have free advice, then make sure you do have follow switch on. Right, I'm going to cut there, guys. If you have any other questions, post them in the comments. I'll always go back in. We can cover them next week. It has been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed today. I hope this has been useful. Click like, love, haha, wow right now if it has been useful. If you think the feed has been good as well, I'm working really, really, really hard to make sure I've invested quite a lot into making this as smooth a process as possible. I've really enjoyed it. Enjoy your Sunday afternoon. it looks like it's kind of sunnyish out there. So get outside, go for a walk, do a run, whatever. Take care. See you all soon. Guys, yeah, appreciate it. No problem. It's hard to say, but I've done my PBs on it. Maybe it gives me more ability. Andy, really interesting. Let's discuss the running program. That'd be cool. Ian, thank you. It's my pleasure, Ian. Looking forward to seeing you back on one of our running programs. Steve, thanks for your time. Some really useful points. Glad. If you have any questions, Steve, at any point, drop me a message. Same Ian, same Andy, Zana, everyone who is watching. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. I will see you soon.